The Game Boy is remembered for classics like Tetris, Pokémon, and Mario. But beyond those hits, the system had a strange and experimental side. Because of its limitations, developers often tried unusual ideas, odd mechanics, surreal worlds, and concepts that felt completely different from mainstream games. Here are four of the weirdest Game Boy games ever made. Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters looks like a typical Nintendo adventure. But once you start playing, the tone feels oddly quiet. The levels are long and mostly empty. Enemies appear in strange patterns, and the pacing feels lower than most platformers of the time. Instead of energetic music and constant action, the game often feels subdued and lonely. It's not scary or dark, just unusually calm for a Nintendo title. It's like exploring a world that exists in the background rather than one built around you. And that subtle, slightly empty feeling makes it one of the strangest first party Nintendo games on the Game Boy. At first glance, the Final Fantasy Legend looks like a simple RPG. But the deeper you go, the stranger it becomes. Instead of traditional characters classes, you can recruit monsters into your party. Monsters evolve by eating the meat of the enemies you defeat. And the world itself is structured around a giant tower with completely different realms stacked on top of each other. You might travel from a medieval fantasy land to a futuristic city to a world ruled by gods. It doesn't feel like one cohesive universe. It feels like a collection of unrelated ideas stitched together into a single adventure. And that strange experimental structure gives this game a dreamlike quality that still feels unusual today. Avenging Spirit begins with one of the strangest premises on the Game Boy. You start the game already dead. Your character is killed in the opening scene, and instead of continuing as a normal hero, you become a ghost. Your only way to fight back is by possessing enemies. Each body you take over gives you different abilities: guns, sword, or strange powers. But if that body dies, you're forced out and left vulnerable again. It turns the entire game into a constant cycle of possession and survival. You're not a hero growing stronger. You're a spirit desperately jumping from body to body just to stay alive. It's a dark idea hidden inside what looks like a colorful arcade-style action game. And that contrast is what makes it memorable. Cave Noire is one of the most unusual games ever released on the Game Boy. At first, it looks like a simple RPG. But instead of a large overworld and long quests, the game is built around short, randomly generated dungeons runs. Each mission has a specific objective: find an item, defeat a certain enemy, or reach an exit. If you die, you lose everything and start over. There's no long story, no world map, and no traditional progression. Just small, self-contained adventures. This was years before roguelikes became popular on handheld systems. And yet Cave Noire already had procedural levels, permadeath, and quick repeatable runs. It feels more like a modern indie game than something from the early 90s. And that makes it one of the strangest and most forward-thinking Game Boy titles ever made. The Game Boy wasn't just home to big franchises and safe ideas. It was also a place where developers experimented with strange mechanics, unusual tones, and concepts that didn't quite fit anywhere else. And those odd, experimental games are often the ones that still stand out today.